Nyake.
Janet.
Kikarus.
Wina.
Madawaka.
Kunamante.
Alito.
Sio.
That's the Huntadish.
Tongo.
Yatahei.
We leaving here?
I think that was all of them.
It looks so. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Coming live from Adams Park with the Murph Challenge. Today with Diabetes Wellness. We are here at the Culture Crouch.
Crouch? Oh, man.
But yeah, we're here at Adams Park. They're having the Murph Challenge today, which I think is, it's a pretty cool event. Memorialize Mike Murphy. If you're not familiar with who Mike Murphy was, he's one of the true heroes. He's a Navy SEAL that was killed in Afghanistan in 2005. If you've ever seen the movie Lone Survivor, he's the one that goes up on the ridge and makes the call with the sat phone, like he sacrificed his life for his team. So, but yeah, here we are live here at Adams Park. How long is this going to be going on today?
Till 5.
Wow.
You can come finish your workout. Got all the way till 5.
You got till 5 o'clock. Come get in on the Murph Challenge and, use your wellness.
Yep.
I believe, they'll be here all day. They got the MMU set up. They got, a little station set up. So, they're ready for people to come through. And, so we'll be here, broadcasting.
Yeah.
I
don't think either one of us is going to try to do anything.
I'm not.
We're just here. We're just here to talk.
I got a doctor's note. Yeah.
I can't see.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool. Get to go live from the park.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. Brought the little setup out here. And they were still doing the training at the office with Sparrow and all the ladies, all the aunties.
All the aunties.
That's pretty awesome. Just to have Sparrow in the house.
Yep.
Yesterday we had Andrea, which was, I don't know, like in the Will Bridie world, like that's huge, I think.
I think to have her, Nat, Andrea, Sparrow, all three of them, and like one training. That's pretty. Those ladies that's some powerful messages going through there today. So
lucky, sir. The ladies are lucky.
Yeah, because normally you only get one of them at a particular training. To have all three of them in there to help explain what's going on during the process, man, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal, So I hope they get the best at it.
Yep.
I hope they get what it's meant for.
Yeah.
But here we are today. It's a nice day out.
Yeah.
You couldn't have picked a better day. We got a light breeze. It's not really warm out here, not like it probably will be later. But what'd you think about that Thunder game last night?
Man, I was like, I didn't know. Like that first half, I was like,
yeah, they were playing like.
I was like, this is not. Because in my head, I was like, why didn't they have the New York and Indiana game first?
Yeah.
I was like, because we just finished playing like 2 days ago. And I was like, they should have had them play. And then I was like, no, it's all right. And then that first half happened, and I was like, oh, my goodness.
I think, it was like a filling out process.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was a good game.
I like to watch a team get better and better, as the game goes along. So, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed myself. Went to AZ's, got a haircut. So, I'm feeling it today.
You're hiding it today.
Yeah, I'm hiding it today. My sombrero, But yeah, So yeah, here we are today at the Murph Challenge at Adams Park.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
There's a few
getting
out
some
there.
stuff done.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks like you're not going to have to do all these exercises like consecutively. Like you can take your time and get it done throughout the day, and so don't think you have to get it rushed and finished in like an hour's time. So I think Darian's going to try to get it done. So
Darian will give us a couple.
Him and his stitch tank tops.
I'm about to do a defibrillator first, and then get it started.
He said he wore his workout thongs. So
I did. Got
my
body glide on.
I didn't know there was a difference. I thought dental floss was dental floss.
Just the mood.
Dental floss is dental floss.
Used and unused. Well, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be sitting up out here.
Yeah.
I don't know, like how often do you think we'll be on today?
I don't know. I mean,
there's not like
we'll
really
see.
a set schedule as to. Because I'm sure people ain't gonna want to be on camera.
Yeah, it's also Women's Wednesday, so maybe some ladies will come out here and we can talk to them. Maybe ask them why they decided to come out here and do the challenge. Well, anybody really
maybe the benefits of doing these workouts.
Yeah.
I think that's one aspect that we don't really get to talk a lot about because we don't know a lot about it.
Yeah,
like the healthy side of getting sober.
I think you say that a lot. Like whenever you get sober, like it's real easy to become unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like because no one's there to be like, hey, you need to.
Yeah,
like, you haven't worried about yourself for years.
Yeah. Everyone's just happy you.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I just gained like 60 pounds.
Definitely happy.
I need to start taking care of myself, and then and that was like something like our nutritionist, diabetes wellness people were talking to us about. Like, hey, we want to start catching people as they get out, so we can make sure they stay focused and stuff. So
I thought the Sugar Squad, they had a great idea about coming on here and speaking about these things. Yeah. Because addiction comes in many forms.
They know you call them the Sugar Squad.
Yeah. Sugar babies.
I can see Angie trying to say something about that.
Slap me back.
Quit calling me Sugar Squad.
But I like how we're trying to incorporate, all phases of health. Well-being. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Coming into a world where you don't even know how to take care of yourself, man. That's coming from like, hey, I don't remember how to cook food. I don't remember how to eat right. Yeah, all the self-care stuff we always talk about all the time.
Like it puts it on a whole different spectrum. It's a different mentality, but I mean, like when you're getting better mentally, when you're getting better emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
What's wrong with looking into that physical part,
right? And
having this understanding that for you to take care of somebody else, you got to take care of yourself first. Like that's the most important part of getting sober and helping others.
Yeah.
Is that self-care. And I think that's it can be obtained.
I also think it's like one of the hardest parts because it's like the last thing you're ever worried about is taking care of yourself. And that's the first thing they try to teach you is like, hey, you need to focus on yourself right now. But most of us natives growing up, that's not what we're taught at all. Like you make sure everybody else is taken care of, then you can take care of yourself. Because I think that's why it's so hard whenever we as Native people go through this process because like it goes against, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but like it goes against everything that you're taught as you're growing up. Like, hey, you need to watch out for yourself. Like don't feel bad because you're being selfish because you have to be good for yourself in order to,
for sure,
before you can even try to focus on trying to help anybody else.
Yeah, you got to help yourself first.
Yeah.
So I'll always support. I've been a diabetic since I was 23.
Yeah.
And if I would have incorporated these types of, this is the last thing I ever wanted to do was get up before noon and
and watch people work out.
I didn't love running from the cops. You know, that's where I got my workout.
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, you know, I like the fact that they are, you know, trying to do something good. And here we are at where they, you know, they have this new
fitness court
setup over here. You know,
it's
the little
nice.
fitness court. And that's nice. You know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is where they do Zumba. This is where they
they had Zumba last night, didn't they?
Yeah, they'll do it again tomorrow.
Zumba,
so
yeah, they have a pretty regular class.
Yeah.
You know, and then Tatum at the women's wellness meeting tonight at 6:30 over there with Tatum and Theta and the girls. You know, the harm reduction hotties. They'll be doing a yoga session at 6 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the meeting starts at 6:30. You know, and I personally I like yoga.
Yeah.
You know, I you know, you use muscles that you never even knew you had, you know. So I enjoy yoga. I mean, you know, and then once you stretch your body out, it makes it a little bit easier to meditate.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's like, I don't know, like it helps you calm your mind. You know, you get that blood working, and I don't know, it just helps, you know, ease my mind. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it, you know, so I think it's a great idea. I believe Jeannie's going to come out.
Nice.
You know, Jeannie, man, she's huge in, you know, the AA recovery scene here in El Reno. You know, her husband's my sponsor. You know, I have a lot of respect, a lot of love for him. You know, so I'm just glad that we get to find a way to utilize, you know, what she can offer. So
Right.
that's pretty cool. I you know, so shout out to the Willamans. You know,
Yeah.
I appreciate what they do.
Both of them.
Both, yes, for sure.
All right, let's read some of these. Good
Yeah, go
morning.
ahead.
Good morning, Miss Candy, Miss Laura Candy.
Good morning, sister.
Anessa Madbull, good morning.
Good morning, sis. Glad
Dave-
you could tune in.
Mr. Dave Levi said, Randy Nolene, good morning, nephew.
All right. Good morning. Good morning,
Kimberly
brothers.
Sexton says, OCO.
Yo.
Vanessa said, it's hot. It's not hot out here
Not
yet.
yet. Yeah, not here.
You need to.
It's breeze. We got a nice. I think she lives in the city.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we got a nice breeze going over here. I'm surprised y'all can't hear it on the mic.
Mr. Johnny Powell said, dang, me and my grandson was just there. So come back out, man.
Yeah,
come back out here. Come sit around, talk with us.
Yeah, come get you a water bottle.
While the missus is in her training. So Misty Hickson says, good morning.
Good morning, Misty. Good morning.
Miss Leanna Thomas said, good morning, fellas. My little sister Anita graduated from nursing school yesterday.
Yeah, I seen that.
Good-
Congratulations, Anita.
It's raining in Baltimore. Your clear sky looks nice, she says. Have a great day.
Wow, that's cool. That's
Con-
pretty.
yeah.
So she got to go up there with her.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's pretty awesome.
Congratulations
you know?
to Anita.
Congratulations, Anita.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome, man.
Miss-
You know, she was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know,
she
when I met
was. Yeah. Yeah, she interviewed us, took all kinds of pictures. So that was cool.
her. I felt kind of like I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Mentally prepared. I kept going.
You look keen standing and looking in the sun, though.
Man.
Yeah, Miss Sherry Beard, Kickadoos.
Kickadoos.
Blessed with another day. I got to watch the Thunder game with 3 of my children and grandbabies.
Yes.
It was a blessed evening. Nothing beats being sober and enjoying life with family. I loved it. My heart was full.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
You know, and we got that W. So
Yeah.
that makes it a whole lot better.
Vanessa says, when I got sober, I forgot how good food is and health eating. So
Definitely. You know, healthy eating is a big part of it.
she says she's Muffin Top fan.
Bust a can of biscuits. Hey, I'm right there with you, sis. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Ron says he loves your hat.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So did Jen. Jen loves your hat too.
Yes.
Jen Millie.
This thing comes in handy. You know, I worked construction for years. And one of these, you know, could save your life sometime, you know?
Yeah. Mr. Nolene, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. Good morning.
We're all caught up. He says good morning from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. This guy, like, walking around in his thong early in the morning. It's not even daybreak over
Yeah.
there.
Him and Darian be walking around just their dental floss on.
But yeah, usually we would have on the women today.
Yeah.
But they're in training. They'll be in training till tomorrow. From 8 to 5. It's a full training. So we're picking up for them. Sorry if you planned on seeing some hotties today, but
some harm reduction hotties. I'm sorry.
This is what you get today.
Yeah.
The OG hot.
The OG hotties.
Yes.
OG baddies.
The OG baddies.
Sorry, Ron.
Yeah. You're just a harm reduction hottie. You're not an OG hottie.
Yeah, you're not an OG baddie. It's a harm reduction hottie. But should we go ahead and
do this?
Get off into this reading today.
Let's see here. Let me. Oh, Darian's about to start his challenge. I think he's just acting like he's walking. But today's meditation, May 21st. A vision could put you on a path you don't want to follow. Comes from Archie Fire, Lame Deer, Lakota. There's a saying, you move toward and become like that which you think about. If we keep thinking about a bad thing, we'll move in that direction.
Yeah.
If we think about fear in some area of our life, we'll probably experience this fear. We move toward and become like that which we think about. If we think about secret things, these secret things will come to pass.
Yes.
Our visions are very powerful. Visions determine our direction, our lives. If we think about lustful things, it's a matter of time before you'll be wrestling with it.
Yeah.
We should think about our visions to make sure they include the Great Spirit in every area. Great Spirit, today, give me your vision to follow. Man, that's a good one. Mr. Botone,
thank you, Mr.
Share your wisdom.
Yes, thank you. When I got up this morning and I read that, I just thought there's so many ways that I could spend all day talking about just this meditation. Right. But then it's easy to talk about the coulda, woulda, shouldas. What I can give is my experience. And I remember laying in bed, waking up after a good bender, and I would daydream about being sober. I would just lay there and be I would it was out of touch, it's something that I would never get to experience. Yeah. It was unheard of, people don't sober up, people don't get better, and that was the mentality that I had. So it just seemed like everything was hopeless. Yeah. Everything felt like there were so many barriers, but it seemed like I'm just digging that hole deeper and deeper and deeper until I couldn't even look in the mirror, and I was ashamed of I didn't know how to forgive myself. I didn't know how to get past the guilt of what I've done. I didn't understand how I was in this deadly cycle and how it kept repeating itself. Yeah. And I kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over. But I remember I used to lay there and I would just daydream, even dream, about getting sober. And I would think, it wasn't even really about helping myself. It was I knew I could help other people if I did it. Yeah. Who, I feel like the Creator put that on my heart, and, luckily, is it luck? I don't know, the blessing of being able to admit that I was an addict and I had lost complete control. My life had become unmanageable. Yeah. and I didn't understand, how to get it back on track, But that was the part about it right there was I had to let go completely and allow the Creator, allow God to do His part.
Yeah.
That's where I kept messing up. Is I felt like I had to be the one to react to everything. I felt like I had to be the one who had to do, all the checks and balances. But once I was able to push my side, my ego and my pride to the side, then like my path became clear. Like everything that I felt like was stopping me, all the troubles that I had, everything that was bothering me, or all the the what ifs, or like all of that got pushed to the side, and He allowed me to find a path through all of that. Of course, there were places where I had to show Him like this is what I wanted,
Yeah.
and there were times when I had to persevere, and and hold on to what I had learned at that time. But I mean, that's one thing that I understand today is that He kept giving me options. You know, Either you're gonna do this or you're not. Like there was no half step. And then whenever I committed to it, it wasn't gonna fit me. It wasn't just gonna fit my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna work out the way that I need it to, so that I'm comfortable. What happened was I learned how to get vulnerable, and I learned how to allow God to do His will in my life. Like that was a hard lesson to learn, because I'm such an emotional person. Like I react. This happens, I react. You say this, I'm gonna say that. Like I got a slick mouth and I got a mind that does not need my permission to be negative.
Right.
So it was a gut check, to be able to sit down and sit in my prayer. Like that was such like a like it says, how can I allow the Creator to control the vision that He has for me, not my vision.
Yeah.
I'm like a rap video. It's my vision. Like I don't know. Like the big 2-story house and the white picket fence.
Yeah.
I don't think like that.
Yeah.
What I think of is pulling up in a Monte Carlo with T-tops on 100 spokes, with the cream brulee.
Dang, man.
That's the best I could muster up.
Yeah.
But once I allowed the Creator to take the reins, like it's taken me to a place I've never been before. Like I've never been this sober before.
Yeah.
I've never like been to this place in my life. So like I always say, that vision, I seen it, I pictured it, and it was like when I would be thinking about it, like I felt it. Like it was already giving me a good feeling about how I can help my people. And I feel like that's what I get to do today. That's exactly how and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, like I completely understand that.
Yeah, you're right.
But at the same time, I'm not afraid to be who I am.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed, that the Creator's allowed me His grace to be who He needs me to be, not who I want to be. He's allowed me to be who I need to be.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm very, very grateful. That vision, that He allowed me to have, and those feelings that He allowed to give me a glimpse of.
Yeah.
I get to experience those things every day now. And, I was thinking about this yesterday. It was my son's birthday. He's been gone since 2016. And I just thought about how my life had transformed since then. In my addiction after his death, I got sober, stayed sober for a little while, but that's, I was controlling that.
Yeah.
I didn't go nowhere fast. It was good. I got off the drugs. I got off the alcohol. But I couldn't get out of God's way. And that was the missing part to my sobriety. So I had to go back out. I started smoking weed, and within 2 months of taking a hit of weed, I was homeless again. I had a job, but barely, barely holding on. And before you know it, I'm off and running again, back into my addiction. And suffered for about 3 more years, before I got sober again. So I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing today if you allow God to control your vision. Control, like, of course, I'm only human. There's always going to be wants. There's always going to be, things that I think that I need. But the Creator has allowed me to wake up in my own bed. Clean clothes, warm water.
Yeah.
Food in my refrigerator. I'm beyond blessed. I remember sleeping on cement. Wondering who I'm gonna rip off so I can go find me something to eat. So I feel good today. I feel good about where my life is today. So
That's good,
that's
bro.
all I got.
Very good, very good. When as I was reading this morning, my mind shifted back to just focus in general. It talks about visions of fear. It talks about visions of, visions of secret things, visions of lust. All these things that can control your life if that's solely what you're focused on. And for the longest time in your life, as you're going through addiction or whatever it may be, it's your focus is really short-minded. You're focused on the very next hit that you're going to get. You're focused on where, if you're going to eat something that day, where are you going to sleep that night? Where are you going to find that next amount of money that you're going to do? All short term, things that you're focused on. You're never focused on anything long term. You're never focused on like where you're going to be in a week. Like you're focused on how you're going to do that day or that next hour or whatever it is. And so, I thought it was pretty powerful to see like, hey, if this is what you're focused on, that's where your mind's going to be set. Mm-hmm. And so I think like to take a play off of what you said about vulnerability, it's like for the longest time, everybody's running, like literally running from their own vulnerability. It's not until you can sit back and embrace it about who you are, because most of the time people don't even know who they are when they're battling addiction. And so you have to embrace and not run away from who you are as a person, because we all know that we've gone through trauma. That's what we learn in Wellbriety. Like our people have been brought through trauma, like through history, and it's been brought down through families. It's been brought down through traditions, because most of our traditions and stuff have been broken. Like we don't even know if there's tribes out there that don't even know what they used to practice. So we're, when we come back and like people like know that we're like a broken people. And so when you come back and you try to come back to that and you don't even have anybody that can teach you, like that's hurtful, man. It makes you vulnerable. And so to come back and try to embrace that vulnerability to, figure out more about yourself, sometimes it's scary. And when you go through that time and your focus is short-minded, like you go through a period of time where you're hurting because you're having to embrace all these faults that you have in your life, all these things that went wrong in your life, all the people that you hurt, all the, you know, and whether you have kids and you weren't able to focus on them because you were only focused on yourself, you know, all these things that happened in your life. But there's one constant. Creator was there through it all. God was there through it all. You were just choosing not to listen to him at the time. You were just choosing not to follow what his will was at the time. And when you get to that point and you can finally sit still and listen, and you can finally sit still and like embrace that, hey, I'm not doing this alone. Creator's there with me. God's there with me. And all I need to do is listen and be ready for whatever his will may be. And it could change on a day-to-day basis. Like, that's why we always talk about praying in the morning, allowing yourself to sit and listen, allowing yourself to embrace whatever it may be that his will may be in your life for that day. Because it's like we say all the time, like, just because it worked for Barry doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. Just because it worked for Carmelo doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. Like, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own vision. God may want you in a totally different state come tomorrow. But we don't know that. Only God knows that.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, the more you're able to focus and the more you're able to, like, know what your vision is set on, and if it's set on Creator, if it's set on Great Spirit, set on God, then there isn't anything to worry about. That's your faith. That's your faith growing. That's you being able to rely on someone other than yourself, and someone that's going to guide you in a path that's not going to just make you smarter, but make you stronger, and in turn allow you to be able to share that faith and allow other people to become stronger through it. And so, you know, that's just, you know, the way that life is now for me, for, you know, several of us now, because that's what we had to do, or we wouldn't be around anymore. There's plenty of situations that I've been in where I don't deserve to be here anymore. And but only through God's grace am I still here, able to share the stories, able to share wisdom, able to share, you know, things about what I've been through. So I think, you know, this meditation was a lot more powerful than I thought it would. But to
get you thinking.
Yeah, because when you sit back and you start thinking, like, man, it's like if your focus is literally on your fear of what it is that you have to face that day, then that's literally all you're going to be worried about that day.
The obstacle.
Yeah. And if you're just putting nothing but obstacle after obstacle after obstacle in your life or through your day, I was like, you're never going to be able to totally focus on yourself. And if you can't focus on yourself, you're not going to be able to focus on your kids. You're not going to be able to focus on your job or whatever it is else in your life that you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. That's just that one statement itself, man. I was like, oh, I was okay. We're all laughing around. And then I read that. I was like, oh, like you could just feel it. Like, man, that's crazy. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, all right. Okay. And then, you know, just to be able to know that, hey, man, I got this. My prayer life is strong. I got this. My faith is strong. I got this. I'm going to be able to make it. But to be able to know that and to have that power behind you, to be able to focus throughout the day on that, like, man, that allows you to be able to go out and help others, to not have to worry about, hey, man, I don't have to worry about where my next meal's coming from.
Yeah, just be able to smile.
Or to sit out here and just enjoy being outside like we are today. Yeah. And so it's, you know, that's a big deal. And I think a lot of people are scared to try to embrace that kind of thing. Like, it's okay to love that you're still alive. It's okay to love that you're able to be happy, because, you know, sometimes we as a people are like, man, we can't be happy. We have so much stuff we have to do. We have all these responsibilities. We have all these things we got to focus on. Like, hey, man, day by day.
Yeah.
Be happy that you got to wake up this morning.
Yeah, that you even have those positions.
Yeah,
to be in,
yeah.
You know?
And like, man, I wake up and I'm so thankful that I get to be a dad every day. And that's a powerful position, because you're influencing lives, not just their lives, but the lives they're going to foster whenever they have their own kids, and what those kids are going to foster when they have their own kids. We talk about generation after generation, but everything you're teaching people now is going to be dropped down throughout life. And so, you know, you're in a powerful spot if you're a parent. And so that's I'm gonna quit, or I'm gonna keep on talking for like hours, because this is like, talking about this stuff, man. It's like that's like one of my things, dude. It's like I can sit there and talk about faith. I can talk about grace, because without God's grace, man, we wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. And I think that's powerful to hear that and hear these stories, and that's why I get so much. It's exciting to hear everybody and everything they've overcome over time.
Definitely.
And so that's why we always try to get people to share more and more and more. And that's why we're so active in Recovery Out Loud, because, for the longest time, people are like, no, you don't want anybody to know about that stuff. But why not?
Yeah, there's a stigma.
Yeah.
It's just stigma.
Yeah. Like, why not embrace like who you used to be, because you're not that person anymore. You grow stronger every day just by waking up and being able to embrace like who you are now. And so I think that's a big deal. And so, like
I seen something on, it says something to the effect of, you can keep that love that I had to give you because that's what you needed at that time.
Yeah.
And, you can have it because that was the lesson that I needed to learn too. Like I don't know, like why that stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think about that, it was so true, situations that I thought were my end, I found a way to overcome those things.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've learned my lesson, and as long as I'm able to keep learning, I'm able to keep striving. That's one thing that I've learned about my process is that I'm able to keep learning, no matter what it is, something spiritual, those are like the hardest for me to comprehend sometimes, but, I got a lot of mental and emotional struggles that I have, and, obviously physical, but, man, it's so easy for me to stay in a positive light.
Yeah.
I don't, I think that's a gift too sometimes. I used to think it was a curse because I couldn't take anything serious.
Yeah.
I remember getting sentenced one time, and the judge asked me, like, why are you smiling? Like, I'm fixing to send you to prison. Like, why are you smiling? And it was just, I just found something funny about his face,
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think about that Joker then, and I think about the Joker that I'm still the same person, but it's like I have so much more to be thankful for today.
Yeah.
I have so much more to appreciate, and I get to smile today. I get to experience all the things that I never thought I deserved.
Yeah, I think like as I've seen you grow over the last couple of years, your thirst for knowledge is kind of key to who you are now.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that I was one of those people that thought they knew everything. And it was one of my downfalls. Like I always thought like, man, I had an overconfidence about it. Like, and it wasn't just because I went through and got my education. It's just because I had gone through so much crap early in my life that I was just like, there isn't anything out there in this world that's going to be thrown at me that I don't know about already.
Yeah.
So I don't need some therapist or some counselor or somebody to come up and talk to me because I've already been through all this crap.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't anything you're going to say to me that I haven't heard already. And so I had to overcome that. And that was hard for me. And it took some humbling experiences to go through that. And to where now I'm like, man, I need to learn something new today. And I have that same thirst for knowledge. And if you don't want something like that, that's okay. You're going to have the thirst for whatever it is that drives you forward. But like mine, it's like, man, I want to learn something new today, and I'm going to figure out whatever it is that is. And so that's kind of a key thing, I think. And like I said, I seen you grow through that and how much you've grown, because whenever you first started talking, like you used to talk, but you didn't have a lot of substance behind it. You had a lot of experience behind it, but now you have your experience, and then you teach a lesson after what your experience was, and you've grown a lot through that. And so I think like as time, that's why we try to get people to talk.
Yeah.
like even like with Theta and Des, like or Theta and Des now, like the more you talk, I was like, the easier it's gonna be. And I was like, because even in the beginning, you didn't even want to get on the mic.
Yeah.
Now we can't even keep you off the mic.
Give me that mic.
Yeah. I got something to say. So yeah, I mean that's just how we've grown over time, and I think being on here helps a lot. Like, cause I've never this whole table next the whole table over here is like flying all over because of the wind. So it's just funny to us. So, but yeah, I totally lost my train of thought there. So. But I'm glad we got all this going on. We'll come back to start reading some of these comments.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
Let's see. Isaac says, fry bread baddies.
Breadies.
Yeah, breadies. Fry bread brothers. Leslie Shorty says, good morning, brother.
Good morning.
Farrah Lynn says, good morning, relatives from Oklahoma City.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Ray Marie White Carter, good morning and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good morning.
Stongo David Deere.
Stongo.
Damian James Beartrack says, morning from the Golden State.
All right. Yeah, that's my nephew right there. My Sadie.
Theta Orange says, yes, sir, faith is what brought me this far. Brother Drew says, good morning.
Good morning, brother. Thanks for tuning in, Theta.
Yeah, and Charlene says, worry is like worshiping the problem that you're worrying about.
For sure.
Desiree,
I like that.
Desiree Harjo says, good morning. Harjo says, good morning. And Mr. Ron Carley, harm reduction hottie himself, says, I needed to strip away my anonymity and help put a face with addiction, which helps reduce the stigma surrounding addicts and addiction.
Definitely.
This is who I am. This is how I got clean and sober, and this is why my life is like it is now.
Recover out loud. Thank you for sharing that.
Mr. Rossi Harjo says, Etha T Nakusage.
Hey, Etha T Nakusage, brother.
So that's it. We're all caught up.
Well, we appreciate everybody that's able to tune in today. They were going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
They better provide some food. I don't just start sweating for free. Yeah. But, like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us.
Yep.
We should be back here pretty quick. Do you have anything more that you would like to share?
It's good, man. I like the meditation this morning.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody here later.
Yeah, we'll see you here after a while.
We'll probably jump back on here. Maybe we should just leave it on and let people watch Darian work out. No.
Where is he at?
I don't know. Oh. He's probably running.
See him bend over and see that thong and thong straps come out.
Probably. Hopefully we see some. Something trying to cover something up.
Well, we'll be back here after a while. Yep. So thank you for tuning in. I hope.